Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Comfort Zone. I almost messed that up. Beyond the Comfort Zone. Yep. We are here in Studio A. Yep. You will likely see in the future some things coming out of another studio that we are in the process of finalizing now at ESG headquarters, which is a real thing now. But we are excited to come to you today. It's been a minute, Gerren, since we've had a chance to sit down and break bread this way. So how are things going for you, man? How are you feeling?
I'm doing well. Okay. Of course, you know of all the beautiful experiences that I've been having over the past couple of weeks. but yeah, man, life is good. Life is good. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be alive.
Fantastic, man. It has been a journey. This year has started off interesting, man. There's so many things happening everywhere, right? There's so many things happening in the news. There's so many things happening with business. There's so many things happening with the family. Yeah. It really can be overwhelming. I mean, you literally have to manage, turn off the devices, go find a quiet place, and just sit down.
That's it.
Because if not, man, it is tough. And for all of you out there that are involved and active and, trying to voice your opinions on everything happening. Listen, we here support you. We are with you. We will figure this out. We will figure this out. I continue to believe that. We pray for that. We will figure this out. All right, man. So listen, we're into 2026 now. As we're recording this, we are approaching the end of the first month, January. Mm-hmm. And it has been different. It has been different, meaning, everybody starts January with so much energy, Gerren. You are ready to go. You were like shot out of a cannon. For you and I, it's how are we going to make the best of this year?
Yeah.
How are we going to hit our goals and targets? How are we going to evolve as human beings? And it is different, man. And so, what I can say is, as early as the year is, I have learned a lot already about what momentum looks like after year one.
Oh, okay, man. Okay. You're talking about that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
After year one.
I'm glad you're here.
So getting into year two, it's a different thing altogether. And we were obviously blessed and fortunate in year one. Now all of the, arm floaties and all that stuff are gone. And now it's sink or swim. You're in the middle of the ocean. It's sink or swim. And so the energy is different. The momentum, the possibilities, the way you're attacking things is different. Another episode, but it is different, man. And so I know you've spent some time, maybe just give the audience a little flavor of how your year has been different. What different energy are you feeling as you've got a number of irons in the fire?
Yeah. As you were speaking right then and there, James, I was actually like tuning into you like, you know what? This brother has gotten his first year under his belt. He's done quite a bit. I'm willing to listen. I really just wanted to hear how things are going for you, right? And then you threw it my way. Yeah, because we all are doing different things, right? I've ventured into something new. And it has, I'll tell you this one thing, man, having gone 20 years in doing one thing, starting over, you tend to forget the grind, right? You tend to forget the grind. And granted, my brother and I, we've launched a couple other ventures. We got Bunjix Energy out of St. Thomas, St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is a fuel and distribution company. But me starting something else on my own, brother, I forgot the grind. I wasn't disconnected from it, man, but I realized when you burn one boat and you focus your attention on a new thing, there's a lot to learn, man, from life, from the people that you're going to begin to work with, just of yourself, because you start to doubt yourself. I used to do this stuff, man. This was so, I don't want to say easy, but it was different. And now it's like, everything isn't triggering the way that it used to.
Yeah.
Because it's a new thing. And I think that's the one thing that we all can learn from, man. When you're doing something new, It's a renewing of your mind, your thinking, your beliefs, all of that. Yeah.
Totally agree, man. And listen, I mean, the newness of what you're doing, you talked about burning one boat, right? But in my opinion, that boat refuses to burn.
It does.
It refuses to burn. Again, another episode. But we have our intentions, and then there are the real intentions, right? We have our version of the story, and then the story plays out the way the story plays out. So it's an interesting time for you. It's an interesting time for me, and we are just blessed and grateful to be able to do this. So a couple of things for the audience before we jump into our topic today. Gerren and I have fully leaned into this now, with our time, resources, have fully leaned into this, and we need your help. We want your help. Number one, we want your engagement. We want you to like and subscribe and comment and do all of those things. And we're even changing some of the graphics that surround our video to remind you that we're nothing without your interaction. We're nothing without your engagement. And so we really need you to do that. The second thing we need you to do is we recently posted a video. It was Gerren speaking. And we asked you for ideas on what you want to hear, ideas on how what we've already been doing resonates with you. And that's important to us because we want to make sure the content we produce hits the spot. We want to make sure it meets your needs. It's entertaining you. It's informing you. And we are willing to go so many different directions because there's so many things we talk about off camera that never make it. And so we need your help. Again, engage, be active, like, subscribe, comment. The second thing is go and fill out the form and or comment on the things that you want to hear about. All right. And then the last thing, share the videos with as many people in your network as possible. This is your community at the end of the day. And if you share, we're going to continue to put out content no matter what. But if you share it, if you comment, if we fine tune it to make sure that it is meeting your needs, Gerren and I know we will get the feedback we need to make sure as we go through 2026, we continue to build this show the way that will meet you where you are. And that is incredibly important to us. Gerren, anything to add on that?
No. Other than you may think this is silly, but I love to hear you talk about this, right? Because again, the world is witnessing such a transformation in this guy, right? I will not put it down. James is not this kind of guy, or he wasn't. Now, this brother is talking to you, asking you to share, like, comment, engage, all of the things that he would once laugh at me.
Well, I knew I wasn't ready yet.
All right, hey.
I knew we weren't ready. I wasn't ready yet,
Okay,
right? I won't say you. You were born ready. But now we're to the place where, again, we're coming up on a year of this soon.
Yeah, sure.
From when we took the camera. That camera.
I'll never forget.
And did what we thought we could do. And at some point, I may replay some of those old episodes.
Why not?
Just so the audience can see the start to now for those that haven't gone back and checked this out. So thank you again. Thank you in advance for that. Your engagement means the world to us. And we will continue to give you our best effort. We will continue to bring you the topics that matter. And hopefully, we will encourage you to take the steps in your growth journey. We are here to support you 100%. Okay.
Boom.
So that being said, the conversation today is a little bit of a follow-up of a conversation Gerren and I had last week. So Gerren came to the office. He was working on some strategic stuff for Tag and even a little bit for Clean Slate.
Yep.
And we got into this conversation where I talked a little bit about some recent news. I was recent, maybe the last year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Where there's some billionaires that have started to come out and say, "Man, I'm thinking about what comes next. Mm-hmm. I can see the finish line in a way, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna leave and how I'm gonna structure what I leave to make sure it has the maximum effect." Let's just put it that way. And so we got into a conversation about, based on kind of that being the start of the discussion. to how does that apply to us? Like, we're not billionaires. We don't have to put out a press release when we decide to give our money away. We don't have enough to give away, but that's a joke. That's a joke. But it got us thinking about this topic of legacy. Legacy, right? And talking about the various elements of that, how it impacts our life, how it impacts our family, how it impacts our energy, and how we drive ourselves. So we thought, hey, this is a great discussion. I don't hear a lot of people, I think, talking the way you're going to hear us talk today. So if you're expecting a 45-minute expose on how to build wealth to leave for your children, you can probably exit now. Because it's not going to be that, right? That's not a spoiler alert, but it's not going to be that. So, Gerren, let me tease up a few things as we get into this to kind of kick us off. So, this concept that we're all running a race.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything we do to lead up to the start of our professional journey, getting married or getting a partner, having kids, as you go through those steps, you start to think a lot more about, man, what comes next, right? What's the hustle for? What's the the sacrifice for? What am I doing it for? And it's not just what am I doing it for? Who
am I doing it for?
Am I doing it for? And what am I actually thinking about them as I'm struggling and challenging myself to do whatever it is? So, let's just be clear. For some, this concept of legacy is about financial freedom, right? Mm-hmm. I hear, one of the shows I listen to a lot is Ocho and Shannon on their Nightcap podcast. Yeah. And Shannon talks a lot about early in his career, he made a decision that he was going to make sure his mother and his sisters and his whole family would never have to work, right? Mm-hmm. And he set his kids up and all that. And you hear Ocho talking the same way, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, I didn't spend my money during my career because I knew that I wanted to leave something for my kids. And the way in which they're talking about that is very much about, hey, I want to make sure that they don't start from the same starting line that I had.
Yeah.
Right. So part of it's financial. And I'm gonna let you in here in a second, Sprav, to start chipping in here. For others, it's leaving a strong name. So this is something I've heard you talk a lot about. Now, for those of you that don't know.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we're going there. The Sprav name in the Virgin Islands is like the Kennedy name here in the U.S. It's a big deal.
That's cap.
It's a massive deal. So to have a strong family name, right? You're talking about your father and the impact that your father had, like, when you say, hey, I'm such and such a son, come on board, come on. Hey, it changed the game. And so for some, leaving that strong family name is what it's all about, right? Let me give them, I may not be able to give them a lot of money, but let me give them a strong family name. And then this one also strikes close to home. So for others, it may be, I'm going to leave a strong faith and spiritual legacy.
Sure.
Right? Which one of those, Sprav, resonates with you most?
That's okay. So
if you could only choose one.
Because I was going to say the last two.
I made it harder. Yeah, I made it harder. If you could only choose one.
If I could only choose one.
Only choose one.
It would be the last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
A whole spiritual foundation. Because I mean, I don't want to say we know, right? But my belief is that in the end, the only thing that matters is your relationship with God. It's my belief, right? And I've experienced for myself, James, that because of my relationship with God, I've been able to weather a lot of storms in my life. And that didn't have to happen at the end of my life. It's been happening throughout my life. So the question is, what could I give my children if I died today that would be the most impactful in their life and help them to be able to weather storms? By experience, I can say it was a relationship that I have with God. So that's why I would answer that question in that manner.
So do you feel, do you feel as though that was the legacy you were left?
Haha. So my father, although he was, he believed in God. I mean, he wasn't a guy that actually went to church with us every week. Right. But my mother, she would always invite him, and my mother was so consistent, man. She would always put out clothes for him, his suit, his shirt, his tie, his shoes, everything laid out right there, hanging in his closet. So that at any time he decided he wanted to go, if he was triggered to, he couldn't make an excuse. Clothes was ready. My mother did it consistently every week, man, every week. So he would sometimes show up while we're in church. We'd look back, Pops is there. But he would dip out before church ends, right? He didn't want to, mingle with people and so forth. So there was that. My mother, she was a spiritual leader in our home. So I got that. My father, he was the servant leader in the community. So he served everyone, every time. Like, he was just that guy. If you call, he's there. He always served. So I got a bit of both. 100% a bit of both. So I'm right in that valley of service and a spiritual relationship.
Okay. So I think you pre-answered my next question, but let me answer that too. So I agree with you. A conversation I have with my daughters often is this conversation about, if anything were to happen to Daddy tomorrow, what are the ingredients that we would leave behind for you to figure out the formula for your life? And the biggest ingredient for us is the spirituality, right? It's, because no matter what you're going through, there's a lever to be pulled. There's a place to go emotionally. Drop to your knees physically. Go find a prayer closet. Go engage with the church. Go engage with spiritual friends. Like that ingredient, that lane has so many other byproducts that comes with it that don't require you to have to interpret the authenticity of those interactions. And when you compare that against having a strong name, or when you compare that against having a lot of money, it's in those two, for me, what jumps out is I now have to start assessing why people are engaging, why people are showing up, why I'm having the interactions I'm having. And so in the spiritual lane, I'm not saying it's completely exempt of those things, but when you show up as an authentically in your spirituality, and you engage with other people that are authentically in their spirituality, the sparks fly.
Yeah.
And you instantly have a community that, again, it's not, I'm not talking a denomination. I'm talking a community of people around the world of different faiths, even, who may not even have the same faith background as you. But the fact that you connect spiritually as the primary way in which you express yourself, and I don't mean talking about God and beating the Bible every day. I'm talking about the fact that you lead with love, you lead with trust, you lead with empathy, you work to understand, you work to build bridges. Like, if my kids, Gerren, had that as their go-to number one chess move, as a parent, I know I'm going to see them again. So it's not an issue, right? Everything else they'll figure out. Everything else would be added onto them. I don't need to worry about that, but I got to lead. I want to make sure that the way that Chris and I live and lead in the home demonstrates and makes it attractive to seek spirituality as their foundation.
Listen, so yesterday I was driving with my daughter. I took her to sing at the church. So on the way back, man, we're driving home, we're talking, and she's like, "Daddy, I'm wondering, like, why am I not getting, she would say, any riz, from some of the boys and da 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 da." She's talking, right? And I'm just like, "Yo, Maddie, listen, babes, I said, you're a beautiful young lady. I said, chill out. I said, sometimes the people who get the attention early, it kind of fizzles out, by the time they become adults. So I said, the fact that guys aren't addressing you is because you're a beautiful young lady and they know that they just can't come at you anyhow, right? I said, so babes, chill. Like, you're doing so good. You're so good, right? But that was the thing that was important to her, James. So I continued to speak to her, and I said to her, I said, listen, just trust me on this. Daddy was a boy. I mean, he was a boy once, and this is how we think. I built trust enough with her, and I said, listen, I'm so glad that as you're getting older, you're going to start learning some new things, and you're going to experience some new things, and we can talk about it. And I said, man, when you become an adult and you have to make some decisions and you start going through a little bit of challenges in life, you'll now understand why you would hear daddy like call out Jesus' name, like, oh God, Jesus, help me, right? You'll start to understand my moans and the groans and the when daddy's quiet and he's praying in the corner. I had to get there to her, but it was through what she was going through. I'm building trust with my daughter, man, so that she can understand that at the end, it's really about the relationship with God. And I told her, I said, this is the reason why we talk about, having worship and you having your own individual relationship with God, because daddy and mommy could be gone tomorrow and you need something to hold on to. You need a foundation. And that's what we intend on leaving our kids, man, this foundation of a relationship, a powerful relationship with God so that they can endure.
Listen, man, it's in many ways, it's not rocket science. But in so many ways, it takes a significant amount of intention. Because, one of the things that came up in our conversation was how we were raised versus how we're raising our kids.
Okay. Yep.
And the idea that so much of our upbringing was obedience led. Like, hey, I'm saying it, you're going to do it. We're going to church. Dad may have had an option. You don't.
Yeah.
Get in the car. We're going.
Yeah.
And that was in their own way, trying to instill the DNA, right? Or to transfer the DNA of spirituality to us. And for many who grew up in churches around the world, this is all probably sounding very familiar. And some of you may have even departed because it just didn't line up with,
the way that it was
implemented. It didn't quite line up. And Gerren and I have made, in our conversation, we called out very clearly that we are trying to model. So we're trying to match the words and the actions together to model this out so that our children have an opportunity to witness it. Yeah. And we, Gerren in particular, you can speak to this, brings them in, connects them to what's going on. Maybe talk a little bit about that so they understand.
Yeah. My kids are definitely a part of what's going on in our world, man. The hard times as well as the good times, right? So we talk to our kids, sometimes they might say, well, why haven't we gone on a vacation in a while? Well, come on in, let's talk about this, right? We'll all jump on the bed and we'll have a powwow. We talk about it, man. What the businesses or how they're showing up, what things are happening within us, what we got to do, things of that nature, right? That's one. And then there's the life lessons. So just yesterday, we're driving, we're leaving, grabbing something to eat, and I see this lady and her daughter on the side of the road selling lemonade. We just left the restaurant, and I'm like, this is a life lesson. I'm going to turn the car around. But before I turn it around, I talk to the kids. I'm like, hey, do you remember what it was like when you were selling slime or, your bracelets or whatever the things that you made? And they're like, yeah. I said, do you remember when it was when people didn't like purchase from you? I'm like, yeah. Okay. All right. We have an opportunity. Let's whip the truck around. All right. And I pulled up and I said, there's a young lady and her mother who are selling things. I want you to go and just give them, a couple dollars. And at first they were like, but Daddy, I don't know what to say. So, okay, hold on. So I started to talk to them a little bit about what it was like for them to remember what it was like for them when they were going through and they were, and then they were like, okay, all right, we know what to say now. Got out the truck and they interacted with this young lady and her mother, right? It's about those life lessons, man, where you teach the kids how to interact with the world, how to be kind. You said it earlier, James, right? If you can teach your kids how to be honest, how to be authentic, how to be kind, how to be generous, how to love on people, man, that can go a long way. Now, that's not to say that we don't leave them any monetary gifts, James, right? Property, land, something to kind of.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that, right? But we're talking about the foundation and why it's so important to have a foundation upon which to leave anything else.